Hello everyone, welcome back. Let's jump into the abortion conversation. One that is quite entertaining to watch how it unfolds. The current big news is that Alabama has banned abortions, I think completely. Let's see, this is CNN.com. I like to use CNN. I support Trump, so I like to read from the other side. It's usually well worded and pretty. It's wizardry, right? Is that what what Owen Benjamin talks about? How they control the mind with all these different made up. You know, like one of the defenses right now is that women are going to start dying during pregnancy. Well, what part of the population? How many women die during pregnancy? So out of every 100,000 births, apparently 18 women die. Does that sound like 20 million Hispanic and black babies over the last 40, 50 years? So that excuse saying that, well, if they start to ban abortions, women are going to start dying at absurd rates is obviously a complete lie. Since 1973, when it was passed, 20 million African babies have been killed in this country, and I would say around, because for some reason I can't find a number, probably around 15 million Hispanic babies have been. It's a little less because usually Hispanics are Christian, faith-based, and we don't believe in killing our children, but given the way that society has gone with entertainment and music and movies and with sex and drugs and stuff like that, well, it's picked up a lot more than obviously, way back in the day. So that's one excuse that can't really be used. But let's get into on Tuesday from CNN, on Tuesday, the Republican-controlled Alabama state legislature passed a measure that would ban abortion, with the exception of when the life of the mother is in jeopardy, in all circumstances. So if the mother is going to have issues or die during the pregnancy, obviously the doctors would decide that, then an abortion is proper. I agree with that. I'm not trying to kill anyone. That's the point of this, right? This idea that it's racist. I saw Rihanna put it up today. Breaks my heart because I love Riri.
There we go. And it said, one second.
Here we go. So the title said, take a look at these, these are the idiots making decisions on women in America. Governor Kay Ivey, shame on you. And it shows a bunch of white men. Now, let's get into my conspiracy with abortions before we continue reading the CNN article. Abortions became legal in 1973 from a case called Roe v. Wade. The timing on this is, right after slavery. So in 1973, the law was passed to decriminalize abortions nationwide. Abortion was already legal in several states, but the decision imposed a uniform framework for state legislation on the subject. Now, let's look at the population right now. We have 327 million people living in the United States, and 76% of that is white, 13% is black, and 18% of that is Hispanic. Due to abortions, the Hispanic population has risen past the black population. It is said that there was 20 million black abortions, and then I'm going to assume that right around the same thing would be the Hispanic. And here we have some stats on the black abortions. Black women have significantly higher abortion rate than whites and Hispanics. 36% of all abortions in the United States were performed by black women. However, only 13% of the population is black. African Americans are no longer the nation's largest minority group today. Hispanics have outpaced the blacks in population. For every 1,000 births, non-Hispanic black women had 391 abortions. Non-Hispanic white women had 120 abortions. So that's 120 versus 391 per 1,000. So when I'm thinking about these kinds of things, I'm thinking about who's behind it, who were they, and what were they doing? Well, the Democratic Party is obviously known for the KKK. They created the KKK party. They were also the slave owners. So you have the slave owners and the people that were a part of the KKK party pushing something that kills 391 African American babies per 1,000 births. Does no one find an issue with that? Forget about the women that are telling us that this is the end of the world. Forget about emotions. Forget about the fake outrage. Forget about all of these things. Because at the end of the day, we're speaking about killing babies. Right? So we have these individuals, these white racist, apparently, Republicans, who are saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't be killing so many babies. Does anyone not think that maybe they're not that racist as they're trying to make it seem? So you're telling me that if it was the Republican way for the last 40, 50 years, it was 73, you're telling me that the black and Hispanic population would be significantly higher. Let's just take the 20 million African American babies that were killed. And you say that out of the 20 over the span of the last 50 years, let's say 5 million or 6 million of those were in their 30s and 40s and 50s. Now add 1 to 2 children. What is the... So you take that 5 million that were killed back in the day, right? And by now they would be in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. The average child per household in the black family, I'm seeing 2 to 3. So you take that 5 million and times it by 2. Now that's 10 million more added to the population from just the 30 to 40 range babies that were aborted. So their age is 30, 40. Now you add that to, that's 10 million more babies, black babies in the United States. And it's the same for the Hispanic side. So the Hispanic side is a little bit less, but we're a bigger part of the population. So our 18% of the population, if it wasn't killing off millions of babies, would be in the 25 maybe percent now. Because the white per family, babies per family has gone down when the United States started going through bad times, which is the point of also making the United States a very wealthy and prosperous country so that all families can start having 4, 5, maybe even more babies again, and we can grow as a country like all other countries are doing, which is the other thing that you got to think about. It's almost as if they're destroying the United States as a whole because, again, the white population has had a ton of abortions as well. So obviously my conspiracy is basically saying the Democrats were the Nazis, the Democrats were the KKK. It might be that the Democrats, who are obviously behind abortions, are doing this to keep the populations of the black and Hispanic races completely down while theirs stays at a comfortable 76%. That's the conspiracy I'm saying, and I think it's something to look at because of the times. They lost slavery, right? So now they no longer can have us as slaves. They lost the KKK party because it's no longer acceptable and they want to stay in power. So they shifted that, they threw that to Republicans apparently it's a lie. Obviously, we all know that if you just do basic history, basic searches for these kinds of things. And now they've been killing us through abortions. So I'm asking the people who are for abortions to consider that. You're telling me that if there were no abortions, we would have 30, 40 on both sides, Hispanic and black, more people living in this country. So that's more people working to take care of our communities, feed our families, and this is a part of removing God from everything. This is why it's been a complete process of removing God, right? Removing the family structure, the structure of a family, the man, the woman, the children, and so on and so forth. And giving us entertainment, parties, drugs, sex. Obviously, sex is needed to create children, but it wasn't supposed to be something where we're all just out here, having sex like we have been for the last, 30, 40 years. Yeah, probably right around the time of abortions. It was a part of kicking the father out of the home. Which, if you look at it, that's exactly what has happened over the last couple of decades. The destruction of the family. A lot of us grow up in single-parent homes. A lot of us grow up in without fathers, or some of us do have fathers, but we only see. Camera's still turning off on me. So these are what those things are. God loved the family, and this is what you should be working to creating. Shouldn't be out there having sex with everything you can touch, because obviously everybody who does that is miserable. There's not many people that you'll run into that, yeah, they'll talk about it because it's cool, but deep down inside, it's not something that is actually fulfilling anything in their lives. You're still usually broken, you're still usually empty, and until you find that person that you love, that person that you care for, you're never, and when you obviously snap yourself out of it, you're never going to find that true happiness that we all can obviously get to. So that's my conspiracy on it. It was created by the Democrats, just like the KKK, just like the slavery, and they're using this as a way to destroy the Hispanic and black populations. Done with that. Let's move on.